Akinyi Odongo is a creative primarily in the fashion design space. She may have scored a D+ in her KCSE, but she is now the president, founder and chairlady of the Akinyi Odongo Group. The former chair of the Kenya Fashion Council is an Order of the Grand Warrior OGW Presidential Awardee for her contribution to the Kenya fashion industry. She submits to this court, through me, her journey of charting a successful path despite being considered unsuccessful on account of KCSE results. Tim Njiru is no new face to TV screens. The TV host and producer hosted shows on mainstream media more than 10 years ago. Now, his KCSE results were not in sync with the career path he desired, to be a pilot. He makes his submissions to this court through Rukia Bule. Sami Kaihori is the recently appointed chaplain at the Kiambu Institute of Science and Technology and is also the youth pastor at ACK St. Paul's Kiambu, all despite having scored a D in KCSE. He submits his journey's lessons before this court as one who had what is considered low grades and as one who handles teens in distress. Leonard Murungi is the principal at St. Peter's Nyakemincha Secondary School in Nyamira County. He has been a teacher for 22 years and has seen many students feeling dejected due to results. Through Bernard Ojwang, he makes his submissions from the teacher's corner or the staff room if you like. Macharia Gaidho is a long-serving journalist and columnist, and along the pages of his journey worked at the Nation Media Group, where he has, among other roles, been the managing editor for special projects at the Daily Nation. The former chairman of the Kenya Editors Guild will make his submissions to this court on how media can handle the results release more inclusively and better. Emmanuel Manyasa is the executive director at Usawa Agenda, an organization that employs citizen-led assessment methodology to conduct large-scale survey of learning levels of children in Kenya. The education affairs expert holds a PhD in development economics. He submits an expert view on the matter before the Honorable Court. The Court of Public Interests, News Court, is in session. Justice Wanjiko, the people of the Republic of Kenya, presiding. My lords and ladies, when national examination results are out, historically, the Kenya Certificate of Primary Education, KCPE, and Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education, KCSE, we have a lot of fanfare and celebration for the top performers, those who scored the highest marks, or grades, if you may. They are thrust into national fame and limelight. All the while, they're not the only ones who sat the examination. There is a larger number of candidates who are not in the glare of the lights, and some are so far from it, they are thrust into some darkness. Are we putting too much emphasis on the top students and being insensitive to those who do not perform as well? Are we enjoying a culture that is on one end appreciative and on the other destructive? What's the balance? We seek your indulgence as we prosecute this matter, as we, among other things, ask, is failing KCPE or KCSE the end of the road for this growing from boys to men and girls to women?
Your Honor, for context and to serve as an example, let's look at KCSE as we appreciate the context created by statistics. In the 2020 KCSE examination, according to data by the Kenya National Examinations Council, out of the 743,299 candidates who sat the examination, 143,140 scored a C+ and above, translating to 19.03%. Just about 1 in 5 qualified for university admission. 26.22% of the candidates scored a C plain or C-, meaning 1 in 4 qualified for TVET diploma courses.
Now, we also have 405,247 candidates who got a D+ and below. That is 54.52%, more than half the candidates. The data also shows that the grades with most candidates were, first, D-, which had 18.26% of the candidates. Second is D plain, 16.21% of the candidates, and third is D+, which had 117,898 candidates, or 15.67%. So, majority of the candidates are in the bottom 4 of 12 grades in the examination.
In the 2021 KCSE, of the 821,582 candidates, 145,145, or 17.5%, scored a C+ and above, qualifying for university admission. That is just under 1 in 5. 22% of the students scored a C plain or C-, meaning just over 1 in 5 qualified for TVET diploma courses. 82.33% scored a C plane and below.
Your Honor, 60.33% of the candidates garnered a D plus and below. The NEC data shows that the grades with the most candidates were D minus representing 22.57%, D plane at 17.6%, and D plus at 14.16%.
Your Honor, it is important that this court notes that just like the 2020 case, the majority of the candidates who sat the 2021 KCSE scored the bottom 4 of 12 grades.
My lords and ladies, the data gives context but falls short of authentic human experiences. This court seeks to go further and humanize these results and experiences. I call to the stand Akinyi Odongo. What did you score in your KCPE, KCSE? Where did you go to school?
My KCPE, do I even remember the marks? It's been years ago, but it was an average student. I was in Lower Girls Primary. It's a boarding school in Asembo in Sia County. For my high school, I got a strong D+. And of course, by then the D+, you could only maybe go for teaching or, you know, not so what people really think is important in life.
What was your feeling? Maybe take us back into that space.
My parents were a bit disappointed because then I can't go to the university as everybody around is celebrating in the village and saying, oh, so-and-so's daughter or so-and-so's son. I had to accept because they were my marks. there was nothing I could change. I mean, these are my marks. It's the reality. So it's just to embrace them and accept them and see what was I going to do with them, improving my life or moving forward.
So maybe give us your journey after now the results came out.
My mother was a tailor and, you know, not the word we know as designer, but I used to watch and I could do a number of, you know, few things. And I felt I needed to do something better. To grow what she was doing, I can do it much better. Then I went to Evelyn's College of Design to pursue fashion. Again, there your marks are needed. You know, every college or every institution you go, you get your marks also still needed. And some would frown at some of the marks. You know, it's something that really works with you in your life. And was able to do diploma in fashion at Evelyn's College of Design, and then went into employment. Went to volunteer in a number of businesses because I needed to get the experience. It's been quite a journey, and that made me really push. In my college, I got a distinction. I was among the top students. And then came a time when I had to now start looking for clients where I make clothes and wear them myself. And then people would ask, where did you get that piece? Oh, I did it. Where did you get that idea? Can you do it for me? Yes, I did a number of walking in offices in town, measuring people in bathrooms, you know, because you don't have a shop, so you go to the bathroom, you measure, go back with it home, repair. And with time, clients are asking me, do you train? Can I bring my daughter? That grew, and now I have an international brand, Akinyi Odongo Kenya, that we are across, you know, we have clients across the world. We've dressed the who's in this world. I've gotten awards, both locally and internationally, very high-level awards that I never even dreamt I would. I felt that I need to be a solution to the problems that I've been able to face. And then I had to come up with a fashion school for children because I felt that there are creative children out there who their parents may not be able to understand them, but through our nurturing and training, we'll be able to guide them, and thus we have 1 hour Tindo. And looking at that, then as we were getting interns from universities, because most of the interns that come to our factory, they're university graduates. I realized that when it comes to the practical work or what needs to be done, we have to train again. So I felt that could be there's a gap either in the way training is done, and thus we created MEFA Institute of Design, which is registered. It's a registered institution licensed by the government under TVET. So we are a private TVET institution that is providing a solution to what the market needs.
Thank you very much, Akinyi. Well spoken.
Yeah.
You may have your seat.
Okay, thank you.
Your Honor, there is a joke, or some loose banter, if you may, that goes, A students work for B students, C students run the businesses, and these students dedicate the buildings. I rest.
In the spirit of understanding the experiences behind these experiences, this court calls to the dock a man whom many may not have expected to have such a story because he was on TV many years ago, and the perception was that he must have excelled, but has a story behind the scenes. Tim Jury, Your Honor. Tim, if you could just tell us, how do you used to perform in school from primary to secondary school?
To start with, my grades from class 1 all through to class 8 was very, very average. When I got my index number, I was index 45 out of 46. That was my class 8. Sat for my KCPE and got 410 marks out of 700 marks. That is what you would call not so very good performance, according to that at that time. So that did not earn me a spot in any of the institutions that I had already filled up for, meaning we had to go back to the drawing board as a family. When I was young, I wanted to be in aviation. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. I got myself C-.
Tim, how did you feel about your grades then, and what was the reaction of your family or the people around you when the grades came out?
You see, getting a C- was not a very, very good thing. Number one, that disqualified me from getting what I always wanted to get in life. My parents, they wanted me to repeat. Media was my fallback plan. I did not even have the marks to go to the institutions that offered media courses. As luck would have it, the Kenya Institute of Mass Communication was also going through reforms, and they went into a part where they realized that they were not producing as many broadcasters or journalists at that time. So what happened then, they opened up a private or a parallel program that would run, and this parallel program would take other students who would be interested in. And it is at that point where I applied for it, and luck would have it, we were all taken in. I worked extra hours doing my assignments. I worked, it was looking for attachment even before finishing my schoolwork. I remember started off as KTN as a researcher, and that then now meant taking this chance and giving it my best shot. Worked for 1 year and 8 months without pay. Started off as a children's research assistant, which then they saw my hard work. Hard work is what paid at that time. They gave me a role of being a TV presenter for one of the children's program. And with time, I appreciated that, you know what, you can be anyone that you can be.
So now you're a pilot?
Pursuing a commercial course. I've already gotten my private pilot license, and now I'm pursuing my commercial license, which is 27 years after birthing that ambition.
Thank you, Tim.
I really appreciate it.
Your Honor, nothing further from me.
Tim, you may have your seat. My lords, my ladies, it may please this court to hear more testimonials, so we have more submissions.
I went to one school, and in that school, they had a ranking system. A, done, it was written angelic. So if you get an A, you are angelic. B, beautiful. C, I can't remember what the C was, but I remember the D. Because that D, it spoke to me. I remember that D very well. D, it was donkey. Umeitwa nini mtoto? Weni punda. So the child knows, moving forward in life, mimi ni punda. When we classify them as low achiever, we bury them in shame. I'm one of them. I've given you my own personal testimony. I got a D. Then I had a D, and this D was not a strong D. It was a very weak. It was a very weak D. This D was considered a low achiever. Look what the Lord can do. Today, I'm in charge of 12,000 college students. at KIST. Isn't this the doing of the Lord? Dan, I've been to 300 secondary schools preaching the last 20 years. I target to visit 1,000 secondary schools in my lifetime. I have 700 more schools to go to. What does that mean? I'll be here for a long while. Young people do not know how to cope with so-called failure. You have pressure from school, you have pressure from your parents, you're expected to deliver an A, but now you can't deliver that A. You're getting a C, you're getting a D, you're getting an E. This has killed our young people from the inside. I remember a young boy, this last academic term, he came up to me after the service and he told me, I've tried killing myself 3 times in the last 1 week using a tie when I go to shower because I'm a failure. That's another thing that we have to deal in school. Young people who have got such huge expectations from the society, but they're not meeting that expectation and they feel like killing themselves. Suicide rate currently amongst our young people is very, very high.
Justice Wanjiku, as these great stories are told, how does the whole results release season look for teachers and their learners? Bernardo Juang now makes his submissions.
My lords and ladies, the impact of release of results is well told from the perspective of teachers. My submission to this court.
When you focus so much on the top performance, we alienate those that have not done very well, and actually I think that makes them feel left out, seriously, alienated in the society. When a school performs poorly and the results are announced and really highlighted on, it will have several impacts. One, it demotivates the teachers, it demotivates the stakeholders, and even those joining the school. Actually, how do I put it? I would say that it kind of condemns them, that they can never do better than those that preceded them.
Nothing further from me, my lords and ladies.
Your Honor, the media is among the key players who push this dynamic that this court is prosecuting, that of how exam results, once released, is handled. So is the media getting it wrong by amplifying the top performers and seemingly not as much follow-up on the lower scorers? Is it inevitable to cover the winners? How should media have more balanced or accommodating coverage?
I think we still cover release of the examination results in a very traditional, very antiquated way, where the focus is simply on identifying the top students, the best performing schools, and we keep that going for days on end. One thing I would like to see us do in coming years is follow up those students. Follow up the A students from the ones who got their A's at primary school examinations. How well will they do in 4 years' time when they do their secondary school examinations? But also follow up a cohort of those guys who just barely scraped through, who did not necessarily go to Alliance, but they also went to form. How well did they do in 4 years or in 6 years? And you might find that somewhere along the way there's an equalization.
For further insight and context to this court, Your Honor, we now get to hear the insights of education experts.
CBC seeks to be a solution. So far we are not doing so well in implementing it, and therefore so far it is not a solution. But the intention is that it be a solution. It be a solution by removing high-stakes exams, by being learner-centered and not outcome-focused, so that we are giving every child an opportunity to achieve the best they can achieve in the direction they can achieve. Previously, it has been everyone must pass everything for them to be graded success. I had very good friends, people who do very well in sciences, not do so well in arts. The mean score ends up being below what is required to go to university, so they fail to go to university. Some do so well in arts, they can't do so well in sciences. The mean score again is below what they need to go to university. Yet if they were to be allowed to specialize in where their strengths lie, they will still excel, go to university and become very successful lawyers or medics.
Some schools of thought have offered society with a premium clash, yet this is not a league for the premier class. So much focus on the top of the table, an arsenal of praises and salutes to those considered more able. But what does this mean for those who didn't perform as well? Are they trapped in a seemingly misguided past, a spell, making them feel like they are a hard sell, plus felt they failed, they fell, and their dreams were failed? Maybe, just maybe, my lords and ladies, we need to be freed and healed from this disease, the culture system that sees D's, E's as sleaze, a waste of fees. We seize this opportunity to put it to you that some things need to cease. For instance, the attitude that treats D's and sees E's as laughing stock to tease with ease. Truth is, for many of the locked doors, they have the keys. A low grade does not make you low grade. Does the value of a product always matter if it's factory manufactured or homemade? It seems our thoughts of school need a new school of thought. Justice Wanjiku, be the judge. It's your call. And this is your court. News Court.